Hello, my name's Rachel Patterson. I'd like to read for you today from Kitchen Witchcraft Spells and Charms. Today I'd like to cover curses, hexes and bindings. Knowledge is power. If you know about curses and hexes, then you are forewarned and forearmed. If you choose to hex or curse, then that of course is your right to do so. Just be mindful of the backlash. I'm also not going to get on a soapbox and spout off about morals, taking the high ground, karma, etc. That choice is yours to make and yours alone. My personal thoughts are, if you get cross or upset about something or with someone, stop and think. Don't just blindly work a spell or curse or hex someone in the heat of anger. Let the hurt die down first and then decide what course of action to take. Sometimes there are situations that warrant action or reaction, and sometimes it's not easy to decide what course to follow. A good rule of thumb to follow is that if you wouldn't do it in reality, then don't do it with magic. Make sure that what you do, whatever kind of defensive action you take, is equivalent to the action that was taken against you. You wouldn't blow up someone's car just for stepping on your toe, would you? Would you? Think about your plan of action. If you feel uncomfortable in any way, then don't do it. Go back to the drawing board and come up with a plan B, or C, or D, or all the other letters in the alphabet. Curses and hexes are not for the faint-hearted, and if you decide that's the path that you want to take, I urge you not to take them lightly and never chuck them about willy-nilly. Take responsibility for your actions. You also need to be very, very sure that the person you're sending a curse or a hex to is the person that was responsible. So let's look at what curses and hexes are. Just as there are hundreds and thousands of love and prosperity spells, there are probably just as many hexes. Some of them involve long, complicated rituals, some require all sorts of ingredients, and others are just gestures with a hand or a word. So what's the difference between a hex and a curse? Well, actually, I'm not sure there is much difference, to be honest, just different names from diverse cultures. However, the consensus seems to be that a hex or a spell or a bewitchment traditionally could be good or bad, and a witch would be paid to provide one. A curse is a malevolent spell that's cast with the purpose of inflicting harm upon another. Curses can be spoken or written. Objects can also be cursed with bad luck, misfortune, ill health, and even death. Essentially, it's the willful direction of negative energy towards someone with the intent to harm. Usually, hexes and curses take some time to develop, building up slowly. However, if you are well shielded and protected, you are very unlikely to become the victim of a hex yourself, and I think it happens a lot less frequently than people would like to believe. I'd also like to look at binding. This is a form of spell that binds a person or a situation so they or it can no longer harm you. I've found this form of working particularly successful. If you are pure in your intent, it doesn't harm the person or cause them any discomfort. It just stops them from hurting or harassing you. Bear in mind that this spell does take away the free will of the person you're binding, so be cautious. A binding spell can be very simple. You use an object that represents the person causing you harm. Could be a puppet, could be a photograph, could just be a lump of clay, as long as you've identified it as the person. It can then be bound with string, ribbon, or even sticky tape, my preferred medium. As you bind the object, visualize binding the harmful energies of the person and speak your wishes, that the person can no longer harm you or harass you, and then bury the spell. And on to banishing. Now, I've had experience with this a lot, and not all of it has been good. I thought it sounded lovely. Banish all negative energy from my life. What I didn't expect was the huge circle that this type of banishing covers. It doesn't just get rid of bad luck, it covers all sorts of things, including people. To banish all negative energy from your life is not always a good thing. We all need balance in life. For instance, think about batteries. They need positive and negative to work. take away the negativity, and there would be no power. Much better to ask that any negative energy that serves me no good be released. It is safer, believe me. And note I use the word release rather than banish. I've found it's safer, but please be prepared for unexpected results. A very simple banishing spell is to use some slips of paper and a cauldron. Write what you want to banish on the slips of paper. Light the corner of each slip on a candle and drop it into the cauldron, visualising the feeling, emotion, bad habit, whatever, disappearing. Send the ashes out into the wind or into running water or even down the toilet. Another simple idea is to write what you want to be rid of on a slip of paper and drop it into running water or even again flush it down the toilet. Please remember that whatever you banish leaves a hole. That hole must be purposely filled with positive energy, otherwise it would just be replaced with that which is similar to what you wanted to get rid of in the first place. I find it wise to add on to end of banishing something like, and fill the void with love and blessings. And remember that banishings sometimes take time to work too.